Call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Next is invocation by Salvation Army. And they're not here, so roll call.
Sabers.
Here.
Goldhammer.
Here.
Dosher.
Yep.
McCardle.
Here.
Barrington.
Here.
Bathke.
Here.
Charts. Smith.
Okay, we have a quorum. Approval of consent agenda items. Items appearing on the consent agenda may be removed by a city council member for discussion at the beginning of the formal agenda items. Would anyone like to remove anything?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bathke. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, roll call.
Dosher. McCardle.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Bathke.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Sabers.
Aye.
Goldhammer.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comment. If you need to address the mayor, members of city council on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium and state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. Would anyone like to address the council?
Hello, I am Elizabeth with Mitchell Mainstream Beyond City Council Mayor Hanson. I just want to let you all know that March is still happening with Wing-A-Palooza. 10 businesses, 18 flavors. I encourage the community to get out there and support their local restaurants and eateries. That's not it. Our undercover wing judges are going great. So thank you to those in the community that are doing that for us. It is 50% judging and 50% people's choice. So I encourage you to get out there and use that Everything Mitchell app and cast your votes. We did have the St. Patty's Day Weekend Extravaganza event this past weekend, and it was a hit. So if you missed it, I have a couple cups left. When you put liquid in them, they lit up all kinds of rainbow colors. So it was really fun to see people's faces. And we had 7 participating bars downtown again, which is exciting for a second annual that everyone came back to the table to work together for an event downtown. That's not it. The end of this month, we will be having the Dribble Downtown Madness. We'll be hiding a little duck that looks like a basketball. It's a national trend right now. We're hopping on the bandwagon. Have fun with that. Our retail stores will be hiding that in their workplaces, and if you find it, you get 10% off a purchase or whatever that business is offering. And with that being said, First Fridays is officially less than 45 days away already. So May 1st will be here before we know it, and we'll be rocking out outside. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, Dave Seatsma, Director at the Corn Palace. Just wanted to say a public thank you to Dakota Wesleyan University, our city government, especially Sports and Events Authority, for helping us put on the national tournament for the first and second round of the NAIA Division 3 women's tournament. So I know they're heading to Sioux City on, I think, Tuesday afternoon, but thanks for all the support and all the help and all the volunteers that helped make it a great weekend in Mitchell.
Thank you.
I'd like to give a shout out to Dave and his crew too the Corn Palace was jam packed. It couldn't have been more full probably on Friday night. Saturday was full, but not quite as full, but they did a good job of getting everybody in and out and didn't hear any complaints. That was a good thing.
Would anyone else like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda?
I'm Boyd Reimnitz, here for 2 reasons tonight. Number one, Michelle, this is a public apology for what I said a week ago, Thursday morning, I believe it was. I told the council that I had gotten a sample petition from you. It was not a sample petition. It was a former ballot. That was my mistake. Okay. Second thing is as you guys know, I was the person who submitted the petitions. I continue to get people contacting me on a daily basis concerning that issue. And I hope this council is also getting those sort of responses from people. And I look forward to the continuation of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. Board of Adjustment. Entertain a motion for the City Council to recess and sit as the Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Bathke. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing and action on application for Stephen and Trudy Morgan variance permit. Stephen and Trudy Morgan have applied for a variance permit for a side corner yard setback of 17.5 feet versus 20 feet to remove an existing 10 by 10 screen and porch and replace it with a 14 by 14 addition. It is located at 1421 Mitchell Boulevard, legally described as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigas.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Planning Commission, motion to recommend approval. Passed unanimously. Notices were sent out to the neighbors, signs posted, published in the paper. There were 7 letters returned in favor of this. Applicant, like I said, would like to remove an existing 10 by 10 and put on a 14 by 14 in that location. Discussion during it was it's far back out of the site triangle. The pine tree that would be just to the east of this is already going to be more into the view area for where this addition would be on. Their current one is right at the 20 feet. By extending that out to 14 by 14 and go to the 17.5 feet versus the 20 feet. I can answer any questions that you have. I will also remind you, since we are missing one person, it's 6 out of 8 of the whole board. So it takes 6 votes. And if an applicant would like to table until we have the full board, we can do that as well. So can answer any questions.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sabers, second by Mr. Picardo by just a jiffy. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing and action on application of David Baker variance permit. David Baker has applied for a variance permit for a front yard setback of 9.9 feet versus 25 feet to remove an existing deck and replace it with a 3 seasons porch addition. This is located at 400 West 14th Avenue, legally described as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigas.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Planning Commission, motion to recommend approval. Motion failed with 1 for, 4 against, and 2 absent. Notices were sent out to neighbor, signs posted, published in the paper. There were 0 responses from any of the neighbors. Applicant would like to tear off his existing deck because he's putting in a new water and sewer line going in there, so he's got to do some work there. So with doing that, he'd like to put back on a 3 seasons porch in that location, which would extend a little bit further than what the existing deck is, and then also have a roof over top of it. He has an existing roof over his entryway that's getting kind of dilapidated, so that's where he thought if he just did the whole thing instead of just that portion. Applicant's here if you have any questions for him, or I can answer any questions you have for me as well.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Second by Mr. Bathke. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Reconvene the City Council. Entertain a motion for the Board of Adjustment to adjourn the City Council to reconvene in regular session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Bathke. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve special event permit application for Jordan Hansen's Lit Seminar at the Pepsi Theater, April 9th, 2026. Ms. Alwyn.
Mayor and Council, I'm filling in for Aaron Heap tonight. We have several new special event permit applications on the agenda. The first one is for the Pepsi Theater for April 9th, 2026. It's a parking lot closure. At this time, we didn't have any conflicting events and the applications included in the agenda. I didn't see if anyone was here from the theater if they want to speak.
Jesse's back there. You want to come up or no?
Sure. Good.
Yeah.
Good evening, Jesse Stroud, Pepsi Cola Theater, area community theater. We are simply asking for some parking lot closures for some events that we have coming up to help provide a VIP experience for those who are coming to our events, but also for our aged and ADA needed members. When we have shows, Tim could probably attest to this, that when we have our musicals and our plays, that we have a vast volume of older folks that have a hard time getting around. So what we want to do is to provide them with the closest parking that we can possibly provide them as a VIP and event experience. And I hope to do this for more of our events so we can lean into providing access, especially for those who have mobility issues.
I don't disagree that there are an aged population that goes to those shows, but I don't think they're any different from any of the people that would go to Corn Palace events or other like downtown type stuff.
Yeah, fair.
So my question is, how would you be monitoring this, or how would we know who is supposed to be parked there and not there? Because when we close a parking lot, what time do we do that at?
It says it'd be closed at midnight until midnight the next night. So it would start at midnight that day until 11:45 that night. So it'd be closed the entire day with cones.
Yes, and Aaron and I did talk about that, about if we decide to close it at 2 o'clock before a 4 p.m. show, let's say just as math or whatever, and somebody's been parked there from 6, how do I track that person down from 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 o'clock because they parked a trailer or a camper or those things? So midnight seemed like the most reasonable time to prevent having to then track down or be crabby at people. Not that that's my intent, but simply that we would have parking lot closure signs, and then when it comes to the event, I would actually create a sleeve. The signs that I'm thinking would be there, single pole with a flat, parking lot closed, that then I could slide a sign over the top of that's now event parking for ACT, parking lot open at particular time. And if I have to have a parking lot attendant, I'll have a parking lot attendant.
Any other questions?
How many parking spots are there? I don't even know.
Over 60, and there's only 3 handicap spaces in that parking lot. So that's also the other piece of, like, there's only 3 technically available for 80.
Plus the 2 in front of your building, correct?
Yes, plus the 2 in front of the building.
So Jesse, I'm looking at number 11. I'm jumping forward a little bit. Is that like for 2 or 3 weekends straight? Friday, Saturday,
So
Sunday?
for Into the Woods, that would be 2 weekends, but we would close Friday morning at 12, and then Sunday after the show on Sunday would open then back up for the week, and then we would close again the following weekend to provide that parking for that event.
When you do get to discussion on that item, there was some staff comments submitted on that one that it does conflict with some other events happening. April 17th is MTC Alumni Cornhole Tournament at the Corn Palace. April 19th is a MHS Band Concert. And then April 25th would be MHS Prom. Both are probably going to be high years.
I
But
figured
when you
prom
get to
had to
that-
fall under one of those months.
But again, the first one is just for the April 9th event for the LIT seminar.
I'll make a motion to approve the first one.
Motion by Mr. McCardle,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion?
I'm gonna vote against, and obviously nothing against the mayor. I hope this is a huge turnout for you, but I just don't know where we're gonna start and stop with closures and coming in. In a 1 block radius, I counted 10 public parking lots that we've got proximity of the ACT Theater. So I just don't know if we're just going to open this up to anyone that would want it, and understand, as Tim pointed out, we've got elderly coming to a lot of events. And I just hate to start this precedent. And so, again, I'm going to be leaning toward voting no.
And they're not, clarify for me, they're not asking for a waiver of the fee. They're just asking for the closure, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So separate this one from the other ones.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion carries. Action to approve special event permit application into the Woods musical at Area Community Theater, ACT, on Friday, April 17th, Sunday, April 19th and Friday, and April 24th, Sunday, and April 26th, 2026. Ms. Elwine again.
Again, similar request to the last application. Again, I'm filling in for Aaron Heeb. You can see the parking lot closure request on the map. Again, though, this is for 4 different dates for the Into the Woods musical.
6.
Okay, I can't read 6 different dates. Sorry, thank you. And then the only comments that we do send the applications around internally before they're scheduled on council agenda, and there were 3 conflicting events during that time frame. I stated previously, April 17th, there's a cornhole tournament at the Corn Palace. April 19th is a Mitchell High School band concert. April 25th is the MHS prom, Mitchell High School prom. And I believe that that's the only comments, other than it's the same time for, oh, I guess he just did say that it would close on Friday through Sunday.
This one I do have a problem with, being with the prom and all the other stuff they have, so I'll be voting against this one.
Would it be possible to modify or change in the discussion of, if I couldn't do Friday and Saturday, to provide Sunday as that is our highest attended with the highest amount of senior citizens? I would Sundays tend to be pretty full houses for us, with a lot of people with mobility issues. So if I could get anything, it would hopefully be Sunday. That's at 2:00 in the afternoon until about 4, and that's when the show ends, and then the parking lot would then be open probably by 5 at that point.
Oops, sorry.
Is there conflicting events on the Sundays?
So just to clarify, I think we're talking about April 26th.
It would be the 19th and the 26th.
Okay.
And I know then the 26th was that one, or was the 19th?
The 19th is the band concert.
Yes.
And then the 26th, there wouldn't be a conflict.
Right.
Is that when the circus is starting, Dave? Is that my memory serving me correctly?
Yeah, they'll be set up on Sunday, starting for the circus. That'll kick off on Monday,
On which day?
the 26th.
That one wasn't on my list. I apologize.
Jim looks like he wants to say something.
Just trying to think about how I want to say it. I think the difficult thing for me is that if we limit this parking at all, we're asking the same demographic of people, citizens of Mitchell, to then have to walk farther to other events. And that was one of my initial thoughts with this as well. I would rather see us look at trying to create some kind of valet system or valet in the front of your building, and look at closing off just the parking that's right in front of that strip there, and offering and working with you to try and figure out a solution that you could park them further away and then have some kind of system along that line. I realize that that's probably more manpower than what you're trying to commit to this, but
Right.
I think that would be offer a solution that seems more fair and equitable to everyone involved in a long-term planning scenario.
And Tim, I want to piggyback a little bit. One of my other thoughts that went through my head at one time was, even like if it was a portion of this prime real estate parking for all the events we got going on, as in someone more towards the ACT building, there's looks like really quickly 4 spots on the backside, and then those first few spots where there's a single car in the middle right now, if it's, I don't know what number would be a good number, but something to benefit a few of them. But I don't know if that gets us anywhere, from like, hey, I want 15 spots. I have a hard time also with all the other events that we have going on in our community at that time, and how we start singling out a certain portion of what we're going to try to do here and satisfy all the community and citizens at our events. So, I'm glad this has all happened. I admire what you're doing over there and getting a lot of activity going on. It's great for the community and it's great for the ACT. That it's not the only event that's going on, sadly, and I just can't see how we can single it out.
So your question, Marty, or this is to, what if it was half the parking lot and instead of the full, as an opportunity or an option?
That's one thing that's going through my mind.
Okay.
A section of it towards the building, so it's more of a I guess, the VIP experience, but then let everybody else have everything, let them filter in with all the other events we got going on. Just something I was thinking of. I don't know if there's any type of support for that, but I would be open to consider that, is what I'm trying to say.
There's
myself.
currently a storage unit on the 4 spots.
Yes,
close to your building.
the four spaces there right behind our building now has a shipping container for on-site additional storage for our really heavy stuff that doesn't need to go up 2 flights of stairs with people that are older than me that could easily fall down them. So I'm trying to prevent that.
I would definitely say on the prom days and the band days, definitely not have a closure. Because those are big events. I think prom probably brings more people to the Corn Palace than the event all year long. So I think we need as much parking around there as we can get.
Yeah, with my thought, I don't know if there's a good number. Once again, you know your attendance over there, but you know, when we start drawing from the parking lot to half it, you know, is that even enough, or is that more of a insult to injury kind of thing?
Well, in my thought on the logistics, it's easier to throw 4 parking lot closure signs than a barrier all the way across the parking lot too.
Correct.
You know, which would be the additional complication there.
How do you know they're coming to your event if there's another event coming on? How if we did approve it, how would you decipher who was going to your event? They could just tell you.
I would, to be honest, I just have to use people's. They would just be self-service. You know, if the parking lot says closed for an event, they could certainly just drive by the sign and park in there.
I agree. I agree that. I was thinking that you could, so we kind of solve everybody's problem. Maybe it's just for the elderly for all events.
Well, in the discussion of there's parking spaces for senior citizens at Coburn's and Walmart and those things, that if it was, and that's, I mean, in the fair conversation, that's my intent and my want is that while I want it to be easier for, and fairly the older folks that have these mobility issues to just not have to go as far. We do have 10 parking lots, but they're also a lot further than you probably want to walk with a boot on your foot. Just in fairness of anybody that's had to have those mobility issues, or you've been riding around with a scooter, it's really not fun, even a little bit of ways. So imagine if you have diabetic feet or things like that, it's a block is a long ways, especially for the membership that we have here at the theater. So anyway, it'd be great if we could at least do the Sunday. I mean, I think that could be the 2 Sundays. I mean, I do get that the band event is going on, but also it's like, well, if they're members of the theater, they can park there and come to the band thing too. Because they're going to be split either way, right? They could park there or whatever. So there's not like I'm going to police it to saying you cannot park here, but at least those signs would maybe keep people honest, and then we can have those spaces reserved for those that kind of need them a little bit more.
I approve the first one. I'll deny this one. So I'll make a motion to deny.
Motion to deny. Second by Mr. Smith. Jim looks like he wants to say something.
Joe, would there be a possibility could you pull the map back up on the south side of the parking lot for us to look at some kind of signage that would be for, you know, the reserved for a special need classification, where right next to the handicap spots.
We do also have PA spots in the City Hall parking lot as well.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Council would have to approve that. As far as the enforcement side goes, I don't know if you'd be able to enforce technically who parks there unless it was a handicap parking sign or there was specific language for who could or could not park there.
Not all right. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Just state your name so people at home.
Dave Seatsma at the Corn Palace. My only concern with this is, now are the Corn Palace and ACT going to start trying to beat everybody to the punch and saying, I want to close off all the parking lot. That parking lot at City Hall that is not requested to closure. Now, should I turn around and ask to close that next meeting so that I've got spaces for people in the same demographic we're trying to serve at the theater that night? And I just don't want it to turn into, plus that I think ends up being more expensive for at least my renters. I mean, they'll have to come in then to secure parking lots and make more fees happen. So those are just some thoughts as you're mulling your decision over. That would be where if they're all just open and it is first come, first serve. If we've got events, we won't always have events on top of each other, but I guess that's my question.
Little exercise doesn't hurt anybody.
Okay, anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, so the motion is tonight. So voting yes means deny, just so everyone knows. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, but it fails. If that makes sense. You guys got it figured out on that one, right? Sure. Okay, action to approve special event permit application for Thursday night, live at the Pepsi Theater, Thursday, April 30th, 2026. Ms. Ellen.
Mayor and council, another first time special event permit application. Again, I'm filling in for Aaron Heeb. This is another parking lot closure following the similar timelines. The date is for April 30th, and there was no noted conflicting events at that time for the April 30th date.
Okay, thank you. And entertain a motion for this one.
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer to approve. Second by Mr. Bathke. Further discussion.
Dave, when does the circus end?
I don't have it right in front of me. It ends on Thursday and recital practice Friday and recital on Saturday.
Thursday the 30th?
Yes. Yes.
I should have clarified, there's no conflicting dates noted on the staff report.
So there is a conflicting event.
What time does the circus get out of there?
They'll be out the morning before that, so we don't what we have as a conflict over there is the big year-end dance recital from Julie's group. The circus will be out and parking lot will be cleaned on Thursday morning.
And that's a practice day, right?
Correct.
Okay. Anyone in the audience want to talk about this one? Okay, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 We got two there. Let's do a roll call actually, and then we can.
Barrington,
Aye.
Batsky,
Aye.
Smith,
Nay.
Sabers,
Aye.
Goldhammer,
Aye.
Dosher,
Nay.
McCardle.
Nay.
4-3.
So it passes. Okay, motion carries. Action to approve special event permit application for Great Faces Rally by Christian Motorcyclist Association Bike Show on Friday, July 17th.
I picked the wrong day to fill in. So we have another new first time special event permit application. This one is for Friday, July 17th. This one will be on South Main, north of, here, I'll pull up the. And I know that the event applicant is here, might want to talk about their event, but the closure is requested for this parking lot. The closure time frame would start at 3 a.m. And it's for the Christian Motorcyclist Association.
Can you state your name for everyone at home?
I belong to CMA is my home base. I am the president of the CMA group. Marty knows me. Yeah, you know me. I've been here in CMA over 20 years. What we're using the parking lot for is we're going to have a bike show. So we're going to park motorcycles in there. We request that the public bring their motorcycles, help us promote it. Cars are allowed in there if we say, okay, this person can park in there. It's not 100% closed, but there would be an area where we set up our booth for voting for the different things. We'll start setting up at 4:30. We'll have an ice cream social open to the public, so the mayor can come down and get a little ice cream. And
I do like ice cream.
Like me. I am talking to the police department to have them bring their cruisers through, to have a blessing of the officers and their cruisers there that afternoon for the police department, the state patrol. The city people want to bring their vehicles down and get them blessed. We're here to serve the public and help make a better world. And all we're asking is that we be allowed basically to have this in that. It's, yes, you ask for closing, but yes, it's just open for a special event and we'll have people in there. And yes, it's across from a bar. And yes, we're all Christians and we're not going to be over there drinking. Marty used to kick me. I had fun with Marty. I've known him for years. But CMA, we have, with clocks, we try to work with them. We try to work with the motorcycle. We try to work with the city council. We ask for information to be displayed about the city of Mitchell. Anything that you have going on that you'd like put out to through the CMA, we'd be more than willing to do it. I live up in Fedora. I'm doctor all the time down here. I just lost the end of my fingers all at a mess. But we try to help people and we try to help the city. We don't want to cause any problems. We just want to do it within the legality of how the city of Mitchell requests for special events, special deals. You know, we don't want to just go take it over.
Okay, sounds
all right.
Sounds
Thank you.
easy. Thank you.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Sabers, second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve request from Craig Ryan for a 15-minute parking sign, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday at the southwest corner of 5th and Main. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. Craig Ryan is located in the building of the southwest corner of 5th and Main. The owner has requested a second 15-minute parking sign from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, south of the existing 15-minute parking sign, which is on the west side of Main, adjacent to 5th. The mayor has requested 2 additional 15-minute parking spaces to be located to the south of those, and that's as shown on the figure on the screen. I can answer any questions you may have.
I'll start with this. Yeah, so I went down and visited, and I had a tough time finding a parking spot. Then until we were talking, I was like, let me ask for 2 extras because it is tough to find parking on that. So that's the explanation for the 2 additional, but 1 does make sense. So I'll open it up for questions.
Did any other businesses have a concern? Or were they notified?
The way this process is, the city does not notify the other businesses. I don't know if there were conversations had with the other Main Street businesses or what their feelings are on it.
Well, I'd be interested to find out what if they have concerns or thoughts on it.
Okay.
Well, there's one barber shop and a salon right there, and that both take more than 15 minutes, and parking is minimal there. They can't park in the space to the west. That's private. And we got a new business going into the old Penny's building.
I believe right now, Joe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we reserve the closest one to the curb on each block. Or the end of the street, end of the block, not just the curb, sorry.
I checked it out when I drove down today. And the end of each block, there is a
15-minute.
15-minute.
And our streetscapes took away 4 on 5th and 4 parking spots on 4th.
The applicant.
Few and far between.
Hi, I'm Craig Steinke, the owner of Craig Ryan's. And the reason I'm asking for this additional 15, 20-minute parking spaces, because some of the items we do sell are large items. And when there's no parking available, it makes it harder for customers, A, to want to buy the product, B, and then getting it to their car. And we have so many people that are just parking on Main Street, leaving their car there for hours, and it's never changing over within several hours, which too, like people can't find a parking spot down Main Street, they're less likely to patronize the local businesses on Main Street.
Does John Adamo know that you're doing this? I mean,
No.
for his other tenants? No.
No. I've talked to other tenants in the building and everyone seems okay with it.
How often does it happen where you have two sales at the same time that you need to load their vehicles?
I'd say it probably happens a couple times a week, you know. It's not only that, but too, like I said, even when it's cold, like Jordan was down last week, it was cold. Like, even he's like, Craig, I wouldn't want to walk, 2 blocks to get to your store and haul, a lamp all the way back to my car or a vase or a couch.
Yeah. The story is, so he invited me down and I was like, I'll just walk. And then I was like, man, it's like 0 degrees. So I drove 2 blocks. I know that's embarrassing, right? And then I was like, man, I didn't. So I circled the block a few times and waited for one of the spots to open up until someone did open up. And when he says large items, I don't know if you've seen these items, but they are large items. I mean, they're like vases that are like, should be in a hotel room, They're like in front of. So that I'm like, okay, when you go and look at it, you're like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't want to carry a 17-foot tall vase, a block down the road. It's not that big, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Again, I'm flexible on the 2 extra spots, but.
And I am too. I'm very flexible.
I think just 1 is probably all that would really be asked of
1
this.
or 2. There already is a light there that you could attach the sign to, so it's not like you'd have to put any additional sign poles or things like that.
I'll move to approve a single additional spot.
Motion for a single additional spot.
Which one would be?
It'd be the closest one, probably next to the green, just so they'd stay close to each other, wouldn't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way it's easier for people to get in and out. Because to try and
down by
watch
your front
people
door?
parallel park on Main Street is kind of a nightmare.
Did you motion right? Yeah. Nobody second it?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'll second for additional discussion, but my concern I have, and obviously been sitting here for quite some time, I know we've been in these circumstances before, and it might have been uniqueness of not necessarily 15-minute parking, just other avenues of some type of spot being reserved or hold back. And I know in the past we've been pretty adamant about denying those just because of the fact of what kind of monster can we create. I really feel that your specific business may have the justification of needing the spot, but it does not stop anybody else wanting to come to us on every other business on this parking lot or this part of downtown Main Street asking, hey, I want a 15-minute spot because my customers can buzz in quick and grab something. So, and I'm not saying I know every business on Main Street, but I'm really worried about
feel like that
what are we going
helps
to create.
every business out when there's available parking. That's the thing. There's not everyone wants it. Some people just want to stop in, run and get their item and go. They're not there to, spend 45 to 2 hours in a store. They just want to run in, get their item and go.
So are you basically saying you want every spot on Main Street being 15 minutes?
No. I'm just asking for a few spots to be for 15 minutes.
And my point is I don't.
For those people that just want to run in, get their stuff, and go.
And I don't disagree with that. I think it's a valid point. I'm just concerned how many other businesses are going to want to do that. And then Main Street is a 15-minute parking lot. That's where I'm at from the past.
Okay, further discussion? Would anyone else in the audience like to discuss this? Yeah, Marty seconded.
Yeah, I want for more discussion.
Let's do a roll call on this one.
Barrington,
No.
Bathke,
No.
Chart, Smith,
Nay.
Sabers,
Nay.
Goldammer,
Nay.
Dosher,
No.
McCardle.
No.
Motion fails. Action to approve request. Mitchell Main Street and beyond install American themed Main Street banners. Mr. Nelson. Oh, who? Okay, it's not Mr. Nelson, I guess. Okay. He's a little nervous over there. Yeah.
Sorry. I'm Elizabeth with Mitchell Main Street and Beyond. I am working with the Parks and Rec Department on this. Is this attachment in the agenda? Okay. I brought extras just in case you didn't have a paper copy. So with Main Street, we're looking to put banners up to celebrate the patriotic theme. That screenshot right there that you're seeing on the screens, that would actually be replaced with an American flag across the top. So it wouldn't say 250th anniversary. And it would obviously say Mitchell, hometown hero, for the sake of knowing what's happening. And the rank and the soldier's name and unit would be underneath it. So we're looking at doing banners from Nedstead's, which is down on 9th, all the way to the depot. So that's 94 flag poles going up on Main Street. I am working with the local National Guard to make this possible because the 665 is the only thing I didn't have written down correctly before I walked in is actively deployed. I am working with their individual that's responsible for taking the pictures before they left to have their faces get on these banners. I'm also working with the VFW, the VA, and their recruiter right here in our community to make sure we are getting the correct pictures for the banners. I know there's others in our community that are going to want to do this. This first initial wave is going to be to target the National Guard individuals that are deployed and on active duty here in Mitchell. With that being said, the project is not a small project by any means. Putting up 94 banners is no small task. There would be collaboration with the City of Mitchell with Parks and Rec to potentially put these up. The fundraising part of this, that's where Mitchell Mains from Beyond would come into play, and we would fund the project with partners of the community and find the grants and the dollars to make this project happen. There's a lot of words on this piece of paper, so if you have questions, I'd be happy to help you answer any of them.
So the only cost to the city is the cost to put them up.
Correct. The manpower to put them up from Nebstead's on 9th down to the depot. On 9th, right? Nebstead's is 9th, correct? Yes.
No, they're farther down than that. I think they're on 12.
12. Sorry. Yes, it is. It's going to run all the way from the Nebstead's and Timothy Drake. There is where the green light poles on Main Street start, and they run all the way down to the depot. I did count them, and they run there, plus potentially doing the 4 that cut into the Corn Palace Plaza, so that it is a good transition when people are visiting in this area. There's potential to grow that program in different waves, but to start somewhere and get this up and off the ground. The hardware itself would stay, and we can reuse those for the next wave of banners that would go up in the next 2 to 3 years. I hope to get 2 years of life out of these. I would look to donate these potentially to that soldier member of the family that have the banner made, or donate it back to the National Guard here so that they can use it out in their armory or in their footprint out there. And then we put banners downtown that represent our community also.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Action award bid for 5th Avenue Reconstruction Project 2024-02. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council, bids were opened on February 25th in City Hall Council Chambers at 1:30. 7 bids were received, with the low bid being from Halmy Inc. for $2,209,458.28. The bid tabulation is attached for more information. Chancey Shrake, a professional engineer with Bros Engineering, has reviewed the bids to ensure they are complete and correct. The project is being funded through a state revolving fund loan package. The project is approximately 40% under budget. Staff recommends awarding the project to Halmy Inc., and the bid shall be contingent on DANR approval. I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Sabers.
Joe, this was the company we worked with last year. Is that correct?
Correct. In 24, I believe, they were awarded 2 or 3 separate projects. We've had good luck with them.
Okay. Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action award bid for Water Distribution Building Project 2026-01. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council, bids were opened on March 4th in City Hall Council Chambers at 1:30. 7 bids were received. The bids were broken down by the base bid, which was a pre-engineered metal building and site work. Alternate 1 was addition of a liner panel for the pre-engineered metal building, which would protect the insulation on the inside. Alternate 2 was an add to the base bid for a cost increase for a precast building. Then there was also a unit price for sidewalk per square foot. The low bid was by Visions Construction Group. So the way that broke down with the base bid and the alternates, the pre-engineered metal building with the siding was $2,048,400. The base bid and alternate 2 for the precast option was $2,487,000. Kevin Gangslinger is the principal architect for Civarella Design, Inc., who did the plans and specs. And they recommend awarding the base bid and alternate 2 for $2,487,000 with Visions Construction Group. He has reviewed the bid and determined it is to be responsive and compliant with the project requirements. Reasons for moving forward with the precast option includes enhanced thermal mass, reduced long-term maintenance, improved building envelope performance, superior durability, and longevity. For those reasons, staff does recommend awarding the project to Visions Construction Group for the base bid of $1,968,000 and alternate 2, $519,000 for a total cost of $2,487,000. And with that, also the unit price for sidewalk. Later on in the agenda, you're going to see where we are approving services for SPN and Geotech for on-site testing services, which puts project contingency. We're short $181,000, but we have had some savings on some other projects this year that should cover that shortfall. I can answer any questions you have.
Joe, are these guys out of Sioux Falls?
Correct. Yes.
And Joe, I assume this was in the budget, or is this a additional thing after the fact?
So the budget was $2.5 million for the product, and we were not anticipating. So we're able to do the upgrade at almost the exact price. We'll be $187,000 more out of the water fund, but you'll get the length of life that comes with the concrete building versus the pre-engineered metal.
Okay, thank you.
They have the ability to pay for the difference out of the water fund. I should have stated too.
Yeah.
Looking for a motion. I think Joe wants
I'll move to approve with the recommendation alternate number 2 for the precast wall system.
Okay. Second. Mr. Bathke, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Extra award bid for public safety replace rooftop units project 2026-16. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council, bids were opened on March 10th in City Hall Council Chambers at 1:30. 5 bids were received. The way the bid broke down is there was a base bid, which was to replace the rooftop units. Alternate 1 was to add baseboards and thermostats to be replaced through a few rooms. Alternate 2 added return, air ductwork, and baseboards to rooms 108 and 109. Beatty Forsyth was the low bid. Base bid was $238,000. Alternate 1, $3,740, and alternate 2 was $3,660. Bob Everson, professional engineer with Roby Quinnell and Everson Consulting Engineers, recommends awarding the project to the low bidder, Beatty Forsyth, for the base bid and both add alternates. Staff also recommends awarding the project to Beatty Forsyth. Staff is requesting an additional $109,000 from the 2026 supplemental appropriation process to cover the project costs with contingency. With that, I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you.
I would just like to add that, so the item number alternate 2, we really added to improve the heating and cooling in the training room, which we were having issues with, and we knew by making this alternate, we could address those issues as well. And those came up after the budget had been approved.
That's where the 109 comes in.
Yeah, for the alternates that we're adding in.
That sounds like a lot to me, but
The original budget that was budgeted was just to replace the rooftop units. So once they got into the design, we found that there was cost savings for increasing the size of the unit. It included better insulation, and it added better efficiency for the building, as well as the alternates are also adding efficiencies throughout the building where we'll see a cost savings with energy and electricity. And the units are a better unit than what was originally specified.
How old are those units?
All it, I want to say a number because I won't be for sure, but for some reason, 20 years is in my head.
When was the building built? Is it the original equipment?
No, it's been replaced since then. The original building was probably
that part of the
1950.
Were those done with a remodel in the 90s?
Very well could have been.
Mayor, Council, Chief Sandoval, that's correct. When the building was remodeled, that's when those units were
Okay,
put on the roof.
perfect.
Joe, there's no way to get these off the roof because I just experienced anytime they're on the roof, it's a huge expense.
Yeah, they'll need a crane to get them off and the new ones on.
No, I'm saying the whole system off the roof
To move them,
instead of
to move it
putting
for
it back on
maintenance.
the roof.
He wants you to move the rooftop off the roof for maintenance in the future.
Yes. Was it looked at or is it just not feasible with ductwork?
I don't think there's any space on that building.
I mean, redoing the HVAC, I'm not sure what that would look like. So I'm sure the returns and everything that's plumbed in there for the HVAC is for where the current units are at. It's an old building.
Okay, any other questions? Looking for a motion? Nobody's motioned anything yet.
Motion approved.
What do you want to approve? With the alternate?
Correct.
With a
Per staff recommendation.
per staff recommendation. Second by Mr. Smith. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action award bid for trap and remove minnows from the wastewater treatment lagoon contract project 2026-34. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council, bids were open on March 11th at 10 a.m. in City Hall. One bid was received from Skinner Bait and Farm LLC for $2,123 per year for the 3-year lease. Staff does recommend awarding the bid to Skinner Bait and Farm. Yep, like I said, this is a 3-year lease that will commence on April 1st, 2026. I can answer any questions you have.
move to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve amendment number 1 to agreement A 2025-06 design engineering for North Olman Street 23rd to Kemper with SPN and Associates projects 2025-01.
Joe Schrader, Public Works Director. SPN Associates is requesting an amendment to their agreement for the North Olman Street 23rd to Kemper Utility Improvement Project. This amendment includes added survey and design to the north of the original agreement boundary. The original agreement was $245,000. Amendment number 1 is $15,000 for a new contract amount of $260,000. Staff recommends approving the amendment to SPN and can answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Smith.
Second.
Second by Mr. Goldhammer by a second. Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2026-22 safety action plan and safe streets and roads for all grant application with HDR Engineering Inc. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. HDR Engineering has provided a scope and fee to complete a safety action plan, or a SAP, and a safe streets and roads for all, or an SS4A grant application. The safety action plan will build upon our Mitchell Area Transportation Plan, which will allow the city to apply for an SS4A grant. The purpose of the SAP is to prevent serious injuries on all public roads to vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians, bicyclists, transit riders, and motorists. The grant would focus on pedestrian access connections as identified in the SAP. The SAP will include public participation, much like the Master Transportation Plan, so the community can voice their concerns of problematic areas. The City of T was awarded a grant of $2,611,200 in 2025, which HDR Engineering provided services. The proposed work will be provided on an hourly basis, not to exceed fee of $78,560. Staff does recommend approval of the proposed agreement with HDR Engineering for the services described, and I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you. Looking for a motion?
Move to approve.
Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2026-23 pavement survey proposal with IMS project 2026-35. Mr. Schrader.
Yep. Mr. Mayor, Council. Infrastructure Management Services, or IMS, completed a pavement survey for the city during our master transportation plan. They provided the results of the survey in Excel format, and staff has been using this information to prioritize street maintenance and replacement in conjunction with utility replacement projects. The previous survey was completed in 2022. Our average pavement condition index at that time was a 62.4, which put us on the high end of fair and the low end of good. Completing the survey again will allow us to review trends and rate our maintenance program, and also provide current data to plan for future projects. IMS is also completing work in Spearfish this spring, which allows us to save on costs. Staff recommends City Council approval of the attached agreement with IMS for an estimated amount of $40,674.60, and I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you.
Joe, what's the normal timeline that this would be done in?
They should have all the streets drove within a week or two, and then we should have results back this fall.
No, sorry, I meant like the last one was done in 2022. How often is that gap? Or how soon are we moving it up?
Depending how this turns out, I feel like we should be able to stretch it out to 5 to 8 years, depending what this shows. If we showed that our streets haven't deteriorated that much, or shows that our streets that we have chip sealed have pushed us up in our rating, then I feel like we could push this off a few more years than what we are now. I feel like this will open our eyes to see how our programs are going and what's going to be needed in the future for future plan.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2026-24 Mitchell Drainage Study with HDR. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. HDR Engineering has been asked to complete a facility plan for the storm sewer encompassing approximately 800 acres in general area between Sanborn and Foster, and from the high school to Dry Run Creek. The plan will include stormwater modeling for the 5-year and 100-year storm events. The report will identify stormwater improvements to alleviate flood-prone areas. The attached agreement is provided for additional information. The proposed work will be provided on an hourly basis, not to exceed fee of $129,953. Staff does recommend approval of the proposed agreement with HDR Engineering, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Joe, if this gets approved, is it stuff that's affordable to do without a grant?
These projects tend to be expensive for the fact that typically you're increasing pipe sizes to convey the water further. When you're doing them, you're also typically replacing your water and your sewer. So the projects can get fairly expensive.
Are there grants available for this?
Like for instance, we did get a grant for our south or east central drainage basin, which would have been the Clockwork area. So they're out there, and having these reports allows us to be ready to apply for those if they are available.
This is basically the last area of the community that we haven't studied, so it will allow us to complete that master planning for the entire community and prioritize which areas to go to first.
That's what I was just going to say. Complete our master drainage plan. A very exciting plan. Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2026-25 water building staking and testing with SPN and Associates Project 2026-01. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. The proposed agreement with SPN will provide construction, staking, and testing phase professional services for the water distribution building at the groundwater storage tank site south of town. SPN was included on the design team with Civarella on the utility side. Staff does recommend City Council approval of the attached agreement from SPN and Associates at an hourly rate not to exceed fee of $33,000. How this is different from Geotech's agreement that's coming up after this is SPN will be responsible for staking and testing, or staking for the building, and then testing for any underground utilities that are put in. Geotech will be responsible for anything under the building and associated with the building. So with that, I can answer any questions you have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Ricardo.
Second.
Second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2026-26 water distribution construction phase services with Geotech Engineering and Testing Project 2026-01. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. So like I said, Geotech will be providing testing services for under the building and within the building, such as weld testing. Staff does recommend City Council approval of the attached agreement with Geotech Engineering Testing Services at an hourly rate not to exceed $18,000. And I'll answer any questions you have.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2026-27 East 5th Avenue Reconstruction Phase Services with Rose Engineering Project 2024-02. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. The proposed agreement provides construction phase services by Bros Engineering for the East 5th Ave Reconstruction Project. The project includes water main, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, concrete curb and gutter, and asphalt surfacing improvements. Bros Engineering will provide full construction phase services, including construction staking, administration, observation, and testing services. Staff recommends City Council approval of the attached agreement with Bros Engineering for construction phase services at an amount not to exceed $334,680. The project is approximately 40% under budget with these services included, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer,
Second.
second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to enter into executive session according to SDCL 125-2-3, consulting with legal counsel and SDCL 19-502, Laura Client Communications. Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCardle. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're going to have a quick session and then we will be back after that to conclude the meeting. Audio's back. All right. Last is discussion on housing in the city of Mitchell, South Dakota. And I think we'll open up to Jeremy Jensen to start. Welcome back.
Well, thank you, Jordan. Mayor and council, thank you for having me back. Jeremy Jensen, business owner here in Mitchell. And I just want to speak to some concerns on some of the housing in Mitchell. Concerns and points of discussion. I don't want to speak to any project. I'm just offering some points of discussion that we would like to be considered. I come to this, I speak with a 25-year background in building, and I've been, building a company in Mitchell. I do approximately 50 new homes a year across South Dakota. So I feel I have a pretty good background to speak to some of these topics. In my bubble, home ownership and building and progression is based on a three-tier system I've always had in my mind. You start with your entry-level home, you progress to your second home, and maybe you've been there a while, and eventually you sell, and then you rebuy something, for later in life, whatever it might be, retirement. But it's all based on buying and selling. That first step is all based off of somebody coming out of a rent, maybe that first time home, whatever it is. They are able to buy that home when that initial player in place one sells, upgrades, and maybe goes into level two, which is maybe their first new home or whatever it may be. So it's all based on progression. The builders, the developers all rely on that too, that progression in housing. With the amount of subsidized housing that has been projected lately, I think it's just some concerns that we should talk about and that should be brought to the table. If you are in step one right now and you are looking to sell your home and move up into a second home, or maybe it's something that a local builder is getting ready to build that second home, what if you didn't have a buyer for that stage? And we have a fork in the road that are taking people down away from that system. So, let's take that into consideration. If you live in Mitchell right now and you have a home and you want to build, you want to do something different, maybe there's another home on the market that you'd like to upgrade and buy from your first home, and that buyer is not there because he is dropping down to either a subsidized type of home. Because why would you buy that 40 or 50-year-old home that maybe has had some remodeling done that's justifiably, maybe that house is worth $280,000 or $300,000, and now you have an option for a brand new house that is $50,000, $60,000 less than that. That is all, you're going to take that new home. I think that's a concern that we should look at. In the fact of, we are not doing 2 to 3, or we're not projecting 2 or 3 smaller homes. We right now have on the table potentially developments that could do 50 to 80 of these homes in a short period of time. Right now in Mitchell, and the last time I looked, which was last week, there is 80 available homes on the market right now, and that average selling price is $235,000. The homes are out there that are at an affordable rate. That is just what is listed. Additionally, there are homes out there that are, being remodeled, that are getting ready to come on the market, and homes that are for sale in Mitchell that are not necessarily listed on the public market. I counted off my hand, there was 20 last week. So right now, potentially, we have 100 homes for sale in Mitchell right now. I do not see how that contributes to any housing issues in our community. I think another point that we have to look at is what could potentially happen to the home values in our town. If we have brand new homes that are coming on the market for $250,000, $260,000, $280,000, and again, those existing homes are sitting out there in the sellable market at $300,000. that's going to bring down the comparable values on homes. Because anybody that knows who has bought a home before, how are homes priced? It doesn't matter on what it costs to build that home. It is all based off comparative values and appraisals. So let's look at this two ways now. If you are a homeowner in Mitchell and you have an existing home and you need to sell that home for $300,000 and you're looking at your competition is potentially 80 upcoming homes at substantially less than that, your valuation is going to be lower. Or what if you were a homeowner that did some remodeling on your house and you want to refinance? And when you go to the bank to do your appraisal and they look at the comparable sales and they find that these values have come down, because we're not building new homes for $300,000 to $350,000 anymore. We have subsidized costs, and it's not one or two. It's potentially 80, maybe, over the next 3 to 4 years. And when you go to the bank to refinance and that value of your home isn't there, you're not going to get a loan on it. Or what if you have a loan on your home that's up for renewal and your bank goes to you and has to do a reappraisal and they find out that now you're shorting $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in valuation because we have done so many subsidized homes in Mitchell that it has brought down our selling point in town. And you're going to have to either come up with a check to bring your home loan back into valuation, or your home is going to get repossessed. I think we have to look at some of the rental market as well. If you're a tenant or if you're a landowner and you have rental homes and you have a valuation on that home and you have a 5-year balloon or whatever it might be, and your loan comes up for renewal and they go through the appraisal process and it brings that value down, and you've got to stroke a check for $40,000 to keep that house to renew your loan, what do you think is going to happen to rents? That is all going to go up because that is additional cost that had to be put in because the values are coming down. I think by throwing this many new subsidized homes onto the market, it should really be a concern of the valuations of everybody in town. And that goes across all homeowners across the board. So a few concerns that I have with some of the policy decisions that are made, and I think there are enough of my peers and constituents, in the building and construction industry that also share the same concerns I have. And I think that should all be taken into consideration when we're looking at some of these new development projects that are subsidizing entry-level homes. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. And would anyone else like to discuss this from the audience? How about any council members? I thought there was going to be more discussion than this. Okay. With nothing else, then we'll adjourn.